10 ways to outsmart any woman playing games with your heart, psychology tricks. You teach people how to treat you by what you allow, what you stop, and what you reinforce. Fellas, ever catch yourself checking your phone every 10 minutes and it's crickets? Yesterday, she was laughing at your jokes, texting late, acting like you were the main event. Today, radio silence, and you're left replaying every word like a detective. Here's the uncomfortable truth: most of the time, it's not confusion, it's a reaction test. Some people pull back to see if you'll chase, panic, or fold. The goal isn't to get you to win the sprint, it's to see if you'll lose your center. Not today. I'm going to show you 10 psychology backed ways to outsmart the games and protect your heart. This isn't about being cold, it's about being composed. When you hold your frame, calm, clear, and grounded, the drama stops being fun. You quit chasing, and suddenly she's the one wondering why you're so unshakable. Before we dive into strategy one, do one quick thing: hit subscribe, drop a like, and tell me in the comments which city you're watching from. I read them all, and it's clear a lot of good men have been through this same silent standoff: left on red, left in limbo. Now, let's get into it. Because what you're about to learn isn't just about shielding your heart, it's about reclaiming your power before you give away one more inch of it. Number one, detach emotionally. Don't underestimate this, because it's not just a small adjustment, it's the bedrock of emotional power. Without detachment, you're like a puppet on invisible strings, and every twitch of her eyebrow, every delay in her reply, every maybe instead of a yes jerks you around until you can't tell if you're leading the dance or being dragged across the floor. But let's clear this up right now. Detachment is not about becoming some cold hearted robot who feels nothing. No, it's about becoming a man who decides when to feel, how much to feel, and for whom. That is strength. That is mastery. The opposite of mastery is slavery, and too many men live enslaved to female psychology without even realizing it. Here's the hard truth: the moment a woman senses you're more emotionally invested in her than in yourself, the games begin. Every silence becomes bait. Every sudden shift from warm to distant becomes a way to test if she can pull your emotions like a marionette on strings. And most men fall for it. They chase, they beg, they apologize for crimes they never committed, all because they're afraid of losing her attention. That is exactly what you must not do. When you detach, the leash snaps. You stop answering crumbs with paragraphs. You stop playing detective with her mood swings as if you're solving the Da Vinci Code. You stop believing that her approval defines your value as a man. Don't mistake her behavior as a reflection of your worth. Let her ghost. Let her test. Let her try to create confusion. You don't flinch, you don't panic, you don't chase. You sit still in your strength like a mountain unmoved by storms. You become emotionally neutral, not because you don't care, but because you refuse to let chaos run your system. This is where the real psychology tricks come into play. When you detach, you gain the upper hand not by controlling her, but by controlling yourself. You start observing her instead of reacting to her. That shift is everything. Suddenly, you're not drowning in her emotional waves, you're standing on the shore, watching the patterns with clarity. And that clarity is power. You start realizing her games say far more about her insecurities than about your value. Most men never learn this. They stay trapped in emotional reactivity, bouncing between hope and despair, living off female approval like addicts needing their next fix. That's not masculine energy. That's emotional bankruptcy. Don't be that man. Be the constant. Be the one who doesn't bend at every emotional gust of wind. Because when you are the steady force, the gravity shifts, she becomes the one wondering why her usual tactics don't work anymore. And that confusion in her mind? That's your freedom. So, what happens when she pulls away? You don't collapse. You don't sit there staring at your phone like it's a holy relic. You hit the gym. You sharpen your mind. You focus on your mission. You put energy into your business, your body, your brotherhood. You keep moving forward because the moment she realizes she can't pull your strings is the moment she starts chasing. That is the paradox of female psychology. Women are drawn to the man who doesn't need them, the man who stands tall regardless of their approval. If you want to know how to fall in love on your terms, this is it. It's not about being heartless, it's about being unshakable. Detachment is the weapon most men never pick up, and that's why they lose themselves in the game. You must pick it up. You must master it. This is not coldness. This is control. This is not indifference. This is discipline. And once you get this right, you won't just outsmart any woman playing games with your heart. You'll redefine the game itself. Number 2. Recognize behavioral patterns. Listen carefully. Emotional games are never random. They're rehearsed plays on a stage you didn't know you were sitting in. They follow cycles, repeatable, predictable, like reruns of a TV show you've already seen. Once you catch the pattern, you're no longer a confused audience member. You're the director. You can call the shots, anticipate the next move, and dismantle the drama before it even starts. The trap most men fall into. Here's the truth. Most men stay lost because they treat every mood swing as a brand new puzzle. One day, she's blowing up your phone, typing, "I miss you." The next day, ice cold replies. Or worse, total silence. You panic. You think, what did I do wrong? But stop right there. This isn't chaos. It's not a mystery novel. It's a script. This is push-pull psychology, gentlemen. Highs and lows designed to keep you hooked. She hands you emotional sugar highs so that the crash feels 10 times worse. She stirs confusion so you crave clarity. And you chase it. That's the trap. Is it always malicious? Not necessarily. Sometimes she isn't even conscious of what she's doing. It's her habit. Maybe it's fear of intimacy. Maybe it's insecurity. Doesn't matter. The result is the same. You stay addicted to inconsistency. And if you let yourself play along, you'll burn out your masculine energy while she sits in control. How you break the cycle. Here's the rule. Don't chase the energy shift. Don't scramble to fix the vibe. Pause. Observe. Detach. Ask yourself, have I seen this before? Is this the third time she's gone cold right after a deep connection? Is this breadcrumbing just enough affection to keep me hooked without giving me the real thing? Patterns reveal intent. That's the gold nugget here. Once you identify the cycle, you understand it's not about you. It's about control. And a high-value man never lets control slip quietly into someone else's hands. The harsh reality. If you're constantly decoding texts, overanalyzing emojis, and trying to rationalize inconsistency, let's be real, you're not in a relationship. You're in a test, a game. And right now, you're losing. Don't confuse emotional turbulence with passion. Any woman who truly wants you will show up with consistency. That's the hallmark of something real. Period. The power move. So next time you notice the hot-cold dance, don't lean in. Lean back. Watch. Stay calm. Let her behavior speak louder than her words. Because the man who sees patterns doesn't get played by them. He predicts. He stays steady. He's not reactive. He's proactive. That's masculine energy in motion. And here's the kicker. Once she realizes you see through the script loses all power. You're not on defense anymore. You're not guessing or stressing. You're collected, unshaken, untouchable. Nothing disarms a game player faster than a man who refuses to pick up the controller. That is strength. That is wisdom. That is what it means to be a high-value man who knows how to attract women without begging, without chasing, without losing himself in the process. Remember, recognize the cycle, break the cycle. Stay sharp, stay steady, and you'll never be trapped in emotional reruns again. Number 3, set boundaries early. Don't wait until you've been ghosted, manipulated, or treated like a backup plan. By then, it's too late. The damage is done, and you've silently told her you accept disrespect. Boundaries are not about punishment. They are about prevention, protection, and power. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That is the essence of Old Stoic wisdom, and it applies directly to relationships. A man without boundaries is a man without self-respect, and women can sense it instantly. That is why she tests you, cancels at the last minute, flirts in front of you, pushes the line to see what she can get away with. If you let it slide, you've just trained her to keep doing it. Don't allow it. Don't rationalize it. Don't negotiate your dignity. Setting a boundary is not telling her what to do, it is telling yourself what you will allow. It's not control, it's clarity. It's not weakness, it's strength. When she cancels on you twice with no real explanation, most men smile, pretend it's fine, and sink deeper into anxiety. But you must be different. You must have an iron mind. You look her in the eye and say, I value consistency. If plans don't matter to you, that's fine, but I won't keep making them. No begging, no anger, no guilt trip, just truth. That is Stoicism win. That is the standard of a man who knows his worth. And here's the paradox. Women respect the man who doesn't bend because boundaries scream value. When she sees you value your time, your peace, your emotional energy, she has no choice but to step up or step out. If she flirts with other men in front of you, don't argue, don't get jealous, don't play the fool. Later, in private, you calmly say, if you're into other guys, I'm not going to compete. That's not who I am. That's not my energy. That's not a threat, it's a standard. A man with standards is rare. A man who lives by Old Stoic wisdom becomes irresistible because he shows that his validation comes from within, not from her approval. Remember Epictetus, no man is free who is not master of himself. That is your battle. That is your victory. Boundaries set the tone early because once you let one thing slide, respect slides with it. If she can disrespect you once without consequence, she will again, not because she's evil, but because you silently approved it. In modern life, where texting, ghosting, and endless distractions pull people in every direction, boundaries are your anchor. They protect your sanity in a world that thrives on chaos. Don't wait to be disrespected before you speak. Don't apologize for protecting your dignity. Don't confuse weakness with kindness. Speak early. Speak clearly. Draw the line and enforce it without hesitation. That is how you win. That is how you stand tall. That is how you live with an iron mind, a steady spirit, and the quiet power of Stoicism win. Boundaries are not optional, they are survival. So let's be crystal clear. You must set them, you must protect them, and you must never compromise them. Because the man who guards his standards becomes unshakable, unstoppable, and unforgettable. If you find this valuable, hit the like button, share it with someone who needs this, and don't forget to subscribe for more wisdom on relationships and self-respect. Comment to remember, I set boundaries because I value myself. Number 4, stay calm under pressure. Don't let her little tricks steal your peace. Nothing unravels a woman who plays games faster than a man who refuses to flinch. When she flirts with another guy, casually drops her ex into the conversation, or lobs a passive-aggressive jab, it isn't an accident, it's a strategy. She's pushing buttons, running a psychology trick to test your nerves, measuring how much control she has over your emotions. Most men crumble right there. They get jealous, defensive, or worse, they overperform, trying to win her back like a contestant on a bad reality show. That's the mistake. That's the exact reaction she's fishing for because it screams insecurity. It tells her, yes, I'm easy to rattle. Yes, you can steer me. But when you stay calm, you flip the entire game. Picture her bringing up her ex. My ex used to take me to this amazing spot. Most guys would snap. I don't want to hear about him. Wrong move. Instead, be smooth. Smile and say, sounds like he had good taste. Then effortlessly change the subject. What did you just do? You passed the test. You showed her that her little spark didn't ignite your fire. That's female psychology at work. She expects drama, but instead, you gave her composure. That calmness is rare. It's unsettling. It makes her wonder why her triggers didn't land, why you didn't react, why the strings she thought she could pull suddenly feel loose in her hands. The same applies when she flirts with another guy to bait you. Most men argue, sulk, or flex harder. Big mistake. Don't do that. A man grounded in himself doesn't compete for attention. He knows that no one can steal what's aligned with him. That's the essence of control. That's the real psychology trick, showing her that your emotions aren't for sale. Power in dating isn't about who yells louder or who plays dirtier. It's about who holds the frame. Be unshakable. Don't snap, don't sulk, don't try to prove anything. Just stay cool, collected, and detached. If her games don't get a rise out of you, they lose their sparkle. She either steps up to meet your calm or she exits the stage. And either outcome is a win. That's the beauty of mastering female psychology. You're not resisting her, you're refusing to be played. Remember how to fall in love with a man like you. She has to see that you can't be toyed with, that you won't let games dictate your emotions. So next time she tests you, don't perform, don't chase, don't compete. Just smile like you've already seen the trick 1,000 times and let her realize you're the one who can't be shaken. That is how you outsmart her, that is how you keep your power, and that is how you win without lifting a finger. Number 5. Focus on long-term goals. Let's cut the noise. Most emotional games only work on men who have nothing bigger to focus on. If you're constantly obsessing over her tone, her text timing, or whether she's losing interest, that's not love. That's fixation. And fixation is what happens when a man doesn't have a greater mission pulling him forward. Here's the truth. The man who has no direction will always chase attention. But the man on a mission? He doesn't have time to decode mixed signals. He's building. He's moving. He's unavailable for drama. That is the difference between a man drifting in circles and a high-value man who commands respect. And when she senses that you're not glued to your phone waiting for her mood to stabilize, she has only two choices: align with your momentum or get left behind. You don't announce this. You don't brag about it. You live it. Let's say you've been dating a woman for a few weeks. Everything's smooth, then suddenly she pulls back. Texts slow down. Plans get vague. Most men, they spiral. They start double texting, apologizing, begging for clarity. They become detectives of tone and punctuation. That's weakness, not masculine energy. Not you. You're in the gym. You're on business calls. You're learning a new skill. You're designing your next move, not chasing her last one. Why? Because your long-term goals anchor you deeper than her inconsistencies ever could. The reverse gravity effect. Here's the irony. When a woman sees that her pullback didn't derail you, it creates reverse gravity. She starts wondering, why isn't he phased? Is he losing interest? Is he growing without me? And yes, you are, with or without her. That is the energy that makes a man untouchable. Progress, purpose, forward motion. And it's not fake. It's not a performance. You're not acting busy. You are busy with becoming, with evolving, with building something she either respects or gets replaced by. Here's your litmus test. If a woman's behavior can ruin your whole day, you're too attached. But if her silence, her pullback, her little games barely touch your focus, you've already won. Because your long-term life, your health, your money, your peace will reward you more than any woman who can't decide if she's in or out. So instead of analyzing her emojis like a code breaker, ask yourself, how much closer am I to the man I'm becoming? And if the answer is farther, it's time to shift. Not toward her, back toward the mission. Women are drawn to men who radiate masculine energy, but that energy is powered by direction. A man without direction becomes needy. A man with direction becomes magnetic. This is why focusing on long-term goals is not just productivity advice, it's relationship armor. When your mission is clear, when you are actively working on your body, your finances, your legacy, you transform into a high-value man. That's the type of man who doesn't chase women. He attracts women. And here's the catch. Attraction isn't about outsmarting her. It's about outgrowing her games. She can play hot and cold all day, but you? You're the fire, not the candle flickering in her draft. Be the man who keeps moving forward. Don't chase mood swings. Don't beg for validation. Don't allow inconsistency to shake your frame. Be the man who has a mission bigger than her games. Be the man who builds, who evolves, who holds his masculine energy like a weapon and a shield. Because when you are deeply rooted in long-term goals, you're no longer a contestant in her games. You've already won. If you find today's content useful to you, don't forget to share your feelings and lessons with us. Or simply comment, "Very cool." It's a great encouragement for our channel makers. Thank you very much. Number 6. Avoid emotional retaliation. This one separates men with iron minds from men who fold at the first sign of chaos. She flirts with another guy, and your pride screams, do it back, make her jealous. She pulls away, and your ego whispers, play hard to get, ghost harder. But listen carefully. Every time you retaliate, you're not winning, you're bleeding power. Emotional retaliation is just emotional slavery. Marcus Aurelius, master of Stoic command, once wrote, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That's old Stoic wisdom. That's Stoicism win. The moment you mirror her games, you show your hand, and worse, you let her write the script of your behavior. A man with an iron mind doesn't dance to someone else's tune. Don't forget, tit for tat is high school nonsense, a playground battle of fragile egos. A grown man doesn't need to prove he won't tolerate disrespect by reflecting it. He proves it by exiting the battlefield, silent, unshaken, untouchable. Picture this. She throws fire, but you don't throw fire back. You stand still, and the flames never touch you. That's control. That's mastery. That's a man who refuses to burn just to prove he can. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you retaliate, you give her the steering wheel. You hand over control of your emotional state. But when you remain calm, detached, almost amused, you send a message louder than words. Your chaos doesn't move me. That silence, that steady presence, weighs more than any argument. In today's modern life, women test men not because they want to destroy them, but because they want to see what they're made of. If you collapse into anger, sulking, jealousy, you prove you're still a boy. If you rise above, you prove you're a man forged by Stoicism win, by old Stoic wisdom, by the discipline of an iron mind. The paradox is simple. The less you try to win, the more you win. When you refuse to be rattled, she realizes she cannot bend you, cannot provoke you, cannot manipulate you with games. That makes you unpredictable. And unpredictability is irresistible. In business, in relationships, in life, the man who doesn't play games becomes the one who dictates the terms. Don't stutter, don't flinch, don't retaliate. Stand firm. Breathe. Ask yourself, do I want to match her energy or do I want to rise above it? Always rise. Because the man who masters his reactions masters the game itself. You must remember, power is not in proving you can fight, it is in proving you don't need to. As Sun Tzu wrote in The Art of War, the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. That is exactly what happens when you avoid emotional retaliation. You win without lifting a sword. Let's be clear, every time you stay calm while others expect rage, you score a victory that echoes louder than any revenge. That is the discipline of the iron mind. That is the embodiment of old Stoic wisdom. That is Stoicism win. And that is how you outsmart any woman who dares to play games with your heart. You don't just play better, you refuse to play at all. Number 7, communicate clearly and firmly. Number 7 is the turning point most men miss. Communicate clearly and firmly, because let me tell you, clarity is power and power is irresistible. Don't ever mistake direct communication for weakness. That's not weakness. That's strength wrapped in calm authority. That's dominance sharpened with surgical precision. Too many men, especially those who've been burned before, fall into one of two exhausting traps. They either swallow their thoughts until the silence poisons them, or they bottle up frustration and let it explode at the worst moment, like a grenade with no target. Don't do either. Silence breeds confusion, and confusion is the perfect soil for manipulation. Explosive emotion breeds drama, and drama is the enemy of respect. Both approaches make you look reactive, unstable, and easier to control. That is exactly why clear, firm communication is the ultimate of all psychology tricks. It cuts through the fog, removes the games, and flips the dynamic in your favor. Here's the deeper truth that most men never dare to test. Women do not fear men who speak with conviction. They crave them. Female psychology is wired to test, to probe, to see if you can hold your ground. When you crumble, she knows you're not ready to lead. When you stay calm, precise, and unflinching, she can't help but respect you, even if she rolls her eyes or pretends otherwise. Respect is magnetic, and it's the real foundation of how to fall in love without being destroyed by games. Let me paint the picture. She's pulling back, short replies that feel colder than last week's leftovers, canceling plans at the last second, sending that halfway out the door energy that makes your gut tighten. The average guy either lashes out, "Why are you ignoring me?" or starts groveling, "Please, just tell me what's wrong." Don't do that. You don't accuse. You don't beg. You hold your posture and you deliver the line like a man who owns himself. "I've noticed a shift. If something's off, I'm open to hear it. But if I'm the only one showing up, I'll respect myself enough to walk." That, my friend, is presence. That is gravity. It lands heavy because it's not begging for her to stay. It's declaring that you won't betray your own value. You're not asking for permission to feel what you feel. You're not trying to negotiate your worth like it's up for sale. You're stating facts, direct and guilt-free. And here's the beautiful twist. When you speak like this, you stop reacting to her moods and start leading the interaction. You shift the energy from defense to offense, and suddenly you're steering the ship. Want a tool? Use the boundary formula. It's simple, but it's lethal in the best way. Step 1, state what you've observed. Step 2, state how it impacts you. Step 3, state what you will or will not accept. Example, "I've noticed you've been canceling last minute a lot. I value consistency. If that's not where you're at, that's okay, but I'm not available for that kind of back and forth." See that? No anger, no guilt trips, no manipulation. Just clarity, delivered like clean glass, no cracks, no smudges. And here's the kicker. When you communicate like this, she will either step up and match your level, or she'll reveal she never intended to in the first place. Either way, you win. That's the power of understanding female psychology. Women don't play games with men who master these psychology tricks because truth spoken without fear is the one thing you cannot fake. Don't cover your feelings in sarcasm. Don't disguise your pain with passive aggression. Don't cloud your intent with emotional fog. Say what you see. Say what you need. Say what you will not tolerate. Then, this is the key, step back and let her choose. You don't chase. You don't flinch. You don't fold. You stand still and you watch who she decides to be. And if she walks away, good. She saved you years of wasted energy. If she stays, good. Now she knows the man she's with is not easily played. This is how to fall in love without losing yourself. This is how you outsmart any woman who tries to test, twist, or tangle your heart. The secret isn't louder words or clever pickup lines, it's controlled conviction. Remember this. Women don't toy with men who carry truth like a sword and wield it with calm hands. So master this boundary, sharpen your communication, and never let games decide your worth. Because when you speak with clarity, firmness, and dignity, you don't just protect your heart, you command respect, you command presence, and you never, ever lose yourself. If you've made it this far, you already know the truth. Clarity is power. Most men hide behind silence or lose control in emotion. But the man who speaks calmly, directly, and firmly, he leads the room. He wins by truth, not games. Comment this to lock it in. I lead with clarity, not confusion. Number 8, prioritize your own well-being. Read that again out loud. Let it land. Because here's the raw reality, most men don't. They trade their peace for her smile, their clarity for her approval, their dignity for her attention. That trade always ends the same, emotional bankruptcy. You walk out of the relationship poorer than when you came in. Now, let me say it with no sugarcoating. If a woman's presence costs you your mental stability, your emotional balance, or your sense of identity, the price is too damn high. Period. Don't pay with your soul just to keep her around. You are not her mood sponge, soaking up every emotional outburst. You are not her late-night therapist or her unpaid ego fix. And you sure as hell aren't her emotional crutch. You're a man, a high-value man, with one non-negotiable, your peace. Stop the self-betrayal. If you find yourself walking on eggshells, replaying conversations in your head, or doubting your worth, that's not love. That's self-betrayal. That's you abandoning you. And nothing kills masculine energy faster than betraying yourself in the name of keeping her happy. She sends mixed signals. One day she's obsessed, the next day she's colder than an ice bath. You feel yourself slipping, chasing, bending to fit her mood swings. Stop. Step back. Zoom out. Ask, how is this affecting my well-being? If the answer is drained, anxious, confused, then you already know what to do. Protect your energy. That's not being selfish. That's survival. Pull your focus inward. And here's the part most men miss. Protecting yourself doesn't mean blowing up in rage or ghosting in silence. It means redirecting your focus. Instead of pouring your mental bandwidth into decoding her gains, reinvest in yourself. The gym, your brotherhood, your business, silence, solitude. Because the irony is powerful. When you prioritize yourself, women feel it. They sense that shift. The emotional cord gets cut. Suddenly, you're no longer hooked on her validation. You're no longer begging to attract women. You're choosing whether she qualifies for your world. That's dangerous in the best way. Because now you're not a man looking for peace in a woman. Your peace. And she either adds to it or she gets removed from it. No negotiations. The secret frame women can't play with. Understand this. Manipulation thrives in emptiness. But when you're full, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, games lose their power. You want to be truly magnetic? Show her that your inner state isn't up for negotiation. You want real respect? Be the man who can smile, step back, and say, "This no longer aligns with my peace." That is the frame women don't mess with. That is masculine energy at its peak. That's the aura of a high-value man who no longer fears losing anyone because he knows he'll never lose himself again. The freedom of self-priority. Here's the punchline. A man who prioritizes his well-being never has to beg, chase, or prove again. He doesn't cling. He doesn't panic. He doesn't compromise his identity for temporary affection. And once you become that man, you'll never fear losing a woman again. Because you'll know deep down that the only thing you truly can't afford to lose is you. Number 9, practice patience. This is the line that separates boys from men, amateurs from masters, and the restless from the composed. In today's world, most men are addicted to speed, quick texts, instant replies, immediate validation, but that's not strength, that's weakness in disguise. Don't be the man who spirals, who double texts, who overthinks, who chases, who folds at the first sign of resistance. Be the man who waits, not with passivity, but with iron mind discipline, with the calm that only Old Stoic wisdom can teach. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That's Stoicism when in its purest form. Women test patience constantly. Delayed replies, last-minute cancellations, emotional pullbacks, all to see if you'll start dancing to their tune. 99% of men do. Don't. Don't give away your frame. Don't surrender your power. Patience isn't weakness. It's control over time. It's command over your reactions. It's the ability to let silence speak louder than desperation. Let her wonder why you didn't chase, why you didn't react, why you didn't fold. That's how power is built. That's how the game flips. When she goes quiet for a day, you don't panic. You don't send the needy follow-up. You simply live your day as if your world doesn't hinge on her attention, because it doesn't. That steady, unfazed energy commands more respect than any words could. Epictetus taught, no man is free who is not master of himself. Self-mastery means patience. It means deciding when to engage and when to let the dust settle. It means being the evaluator, not the one desperately hoping to be chosen. Patience makes you the pace setter. Patience shifts control. And in a world of men in hurry mode, the man in legacy mode terrifies her because she can't control him. Modern life is fast, loud, frantic. Everyone wants dopamine now, validation now, answers now. But you must be different. You must move with weight, with stillness, with timeless confidence. Old Stoic wisdom reminds us, silence is often the most powerful reply. So when she delays, when she pulls back, when she tests, don't chase. Don't fold. Don't react. Smile. Let her feel the absence of your reaction. That silence will shake her more than anger ever could. That stillness will remind her that your attention is earned, not given away. The greatest victory is not in the instant win, but in the iron mind endurance that outlasts her games. Patience is not about waiting, it's about commanding time, about bending the pace of the interaction to your will. You are not chasing quick dopamine hits, you are building respect, legacy, control. Don't let her think she's in charge of your emotions. Don't let the world's frantic tempo dictate your rhythm. Stand firm. Stand unshaken. Patience is power. Patience is freedom. Patience is victory. And when you master patience, you don't just outsmart games, you end them forever. Number 10, choose when to walk away. And I mean really walk away, because this is the psychology trick most men never master. And that's exactly why they get stuck playing endless games they never wanted to play. Walking away isn't weakness, it's not surrender, it's the ultimate declaration that you know your worth. It's the line in the sand that screams, I don't need you to complete me, I already come complete. Don't confuse tolerance with loyalty. Don't swallow mixed signals, disrespect, or hot and cold nonsense just because you're clinging to some imagined potential. That is how men waste years of their lives. Be real with yourself. When you stay in a situation that drains you, you're not being strong, you're being scared, scared of loss, scared of rejection, scared of being alone. But guess what? Walking away isn't failure, it's the cleanest form of self-respect. It's the moment you prove you won't be anyone's emotional puppet. Female psychology has its tricks, but you don't have to be their victim. Because when she ghosts you for days, when she flirts with other guys while calling you hers, when she keeps you guessing like a game show host, you don't beg, you don't lecture, and you don't negotiate. You just stand tall, breathe deep, and say, this no longer aligns with who I am. I'm done. And here's the key. You mean it. Not as a gimmick, not as bait to make her chase, but because you've outgrown the nonsense. You'd rather be alone in peace than chained to chaos. That's not just a move, that's mastery. Because the second you walk away with calm confidence, you blow up the entire script. The game she's used to playing, it crumbles. Your value, it resets higher because you've shown you won't settle. Your self-worth, it rewires itself, no longer measured by her attention, but anchored in your standards. Yes, sometimes she'll chase, but that's not the point. The point is that you've reclaimed your power by stepping out quietly, cleanly, unapologetically. The man who can walk away without anger, without theatrics, is the man who can't be manipulated anymore. That's the final level, and most guys never get there because they don't dare. So ask yourself right now, what are you tolerating that drains you? And more importantly, why haven't you left yet? If the answer is fear, that's your signal. Because the instant you truly believe you don't need her, the game ends and your real life begins. That's not just psychology tricks, it's emotional freedom. It's how to fall in love with yourself first so you'll only attract women who don't play games in the first place. Because power respects power. And when you hold your frame, protect your peace, and speak truth without flinching, low quality behavior automatically disqualifies itself from your life. No begging, no fixing, no convincing, just alignment or exit. The men who live by this rule don't chase women, they choose them. And they do it from abundance, not desperation. That is the win. That is the shift. And that is how you finally stop being a player in someone else's drama and become the author of your own story. If something inside you just clicked, if you feel that shift from I've had enough to I'm ready to lead, that's good. It means this wasn't just content, it was your way up call. But listen, knowledge without action is just another way of staying stuck. So here's the deal. Pick just one of these 10 strategies and put it into play today. Not next week. Not the next time she tries to test you. Now, because the man who acts on knowledge is the man who wins every time. And if you're ready to go deeper, if you want to build that inner strength that no games, no manipulation, and no emotional chaos can touch, then stick with this channel. This isn't about complaining. It's about evolving, one decision at a time, into a man who never loses himself again. Let me know in the comments, which of the 10 strategies hit you the hardest? Or what's a game you've caught a woman playing, and how did you handle it? Let's make the comment section a training ground for wisdom, not a pity party. If this video gave you clarity, share it with another man who needs to hear it. And subscribe, not for trends, but to stay sharp. This is not just a video. This is a movement. And you just took your first real step. Stay sharp, stay grounded, and remember, no one can play games with a man who knows his worth. Catch you in the next one, brother.